Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Ian sent me a note about a story involving the police making a mistake. Now, before you say, Steve, are you sure you can say that? Well, no, they admitted it. The headline here says, we've made a mistake. So once in a while, when somebody says, yes, we made a mistake, we can say, yeah, clearly, at least it was a mistake. May have been worse, but here we go. Frisco Police mistakenly pull over a family headed to a basketball tournament with guns drawn. So you're headed to the basketball tournament with your kid, and the next thing you know, you're at the side of the road, and weapons are trained on you, as they say. Rebecca Reese wrote this for CNN. This is talking about the Frisco in Texas. Frisco, Texas. Police chief issued an apology recently after a family from Little Rock, who were headed to a basketball tournament in Grapevine, was mistakenly pulled over in a high-risk stop. A high-risk stop after a Frisco cop ran the car's plates as being from Arizona instead of Arkansas. It's that old two-letter abbreviation thing screwing things up, which led police to believe the car was stolen, according to body camera video and information released by the police. So they're trying to get out ahead of this one, which I don't blame them, because quite often we know that they make mistakes and they try to not be forthcoming and transparent. So here they've actually come out and said, we've made a mistake. Here's the footage. There it is. But on July 23rd, a Frisco police officer saw a black Dodge Charger with an out-of-state plate leave a hotel. So he did what they all do. He ran a check on the vehicle's license plate. According to the news release from the police, when entering the information, the officer mistakenly entered the plate as being from Arizona instead of Arkansas, which caused an incorrect registration return and led the officer to believe the vehicle was possibly stolen. Now, you'd think it would say either it is or it's not, but I guess possibly stolen. The officer then initiated a high-risk traffic stop on the Dallas North Tollway and waited for backup officers to arrive. Police closed the southbound lanes of the tollway and conducted the high-risk stop, which the department said is standard procedure for stolen vehicles. Now, it wasn't stolen. We know that, but body camera video from two officers released by the department on Friday shows that the mother, who was driving, and her sixth grade son, who was in the back seat, were ordered out of the vehicle. And we know word for word what was said because it was all caught on camera. And I always like to remind people that there was a time, at least in my lifetime, maybe yours also, if you're of a certain age, when none of this could be verified because they'd say, oh, that's not what happened. It's your word against ours. But the body cameras cut both ways. So what was said to the people in the vehicle was, slowly exit the vehicle, face away from us, turn around, do not face us, and the officer speaking has his gun drawn. Everybody in the car, hands outside the window. Driver, slowly lift up your shirt for us to see your waistband. Slowly spin around. And here's if you reach in that car, you may get shot, so be careful. Do not reach in the car. The officer shouts once they've been told by the driver that her licensed handgun is locked in the glove compartment. So she told them that, and they said, well, if you reach in that car, you may get shot, so be careful. Now, police say they are investigating the incident, and the police chief said in a statement, we made a mistake. Our department will not hide from its mistakes. Instead, we will learn from them. The officer involved quickly accepted responsibility for what happened, which speaks to integrity. Well, yeah, also speaks to mistakes. I've spoken with the family. I empathize with them and completely understand why they are upset. The body camera video shows the officer who initiated the stop taking the mother aside and questioning her about the car tags. The woman tells the officer that the children in the back of the car are her son and nephew. Meanwhile, body camera video shows the driver's husband talking to a second officer saying, listen, sir, this is my wife's car. We're just in a basketball tournament. I'm a basketball coach. Look at this, bro. He continues as his son can be heard crying. I got concealed carry. Y'all put a gun on my son for no reason. A Frisco police sergeant then arrived, and officers realized a mistake had been made. One officer then says it was an honest mistake. And the father said, that's a terrible experience. You all got to do your job, but we're all legit. The officer tells the family, it looks like I made a mistake, the officer said. So I ran it AZ for Arizona instead of AR, and that's what happened. And the father then points out it could have gone wrong. It could have gone all wrong for us. Distraught, the driver's husband can then be seen turning away from the officers and breaking down in tears. Another officer tells the family, "We're so sorry that it happened like this. We had no intent on doing this, you know. We're humans as well, and we make mistakes. I'm not justifying anything. I'm just saying, like, it wasn't a computer that ran it. It was a human error that did this, so please forgive us." According to the police, the incident review was initiated that day to determine what happened, how it was managed, and to evaluate what needed to be addressed to prevent this from happening again. Police said an ongoing review would identify further changes to the department's training, policies, and procedures. The chief added, "I apologized on behalf of our department and assured them that we will hold ourselves accountable and provide transparency through the process. This incident does not reflect the high standard of service that our officers provide on a daily basis to our residents, businesses, and visitors." And so the big question I have that was not answered in this article was they said that they saw a car with an out-of-state plate, and so they ran the plate, to see if it's stolen because, out-of-state plates, And I understand that's, they can run the plates all day long. They've determined that's not illegal. But when it comes back and says the car is potentially stolen, wouldn't it also come back with the make, model, and color of the car? And are you telling me that it came back as a black Dodge Charger? Because that would be real freaky. And somehow I have a feeling that's not what happened. I have a feeling that they ran the information with the wrong state for the plate, and it came back as potentially stolen, and somebody just saw that, and the buzzers went off in their head. So this is a problem. The good news is that nobody got hurt, which is, I think, a lot of people would assume that that's what makes this a news story, is that nobody got hurt, because so often we hear about crazy things like this ending badly. And you can imagine how traumatic this would be if it happened to you. You're just driving along one day, but you are in another state, and they shut down the highway to take you out, to get you out of your vehicle, and they've got you surrounded and are yelling things at you like turn around and walk backwards and don't lean into your car or you get shot. That would wake you up. That would get your attention. So I have to give the police credit because they've admitted it was a mistake. But I'm sure there's more to this than that. And the question is, what will happen going forward as a result of this? Will they learn from it? Will they change any policies? And will perhaps police in the future, when they get the thing back saying, yeah, a vehicle could be stolen, will they double check the make, model, and color of the car just to make sure? Because that's, like I said, I have a hard time believing that it came back as a black Dodge Charger. But if it did, then there's a little bit more of a, emphasis here that the police made a mistake, but it wasn't quite as large as I'm thinking it is right now. But this is a crazy story. And, I just think back, I've been pulled over by the police a few times in my life. And you get pulled over. The adrenaline's up here. And as you can imagine, if they pull out the bullhorn and start yelling instructions at you to get out of your vehicle and walk backwards, the adrenaline's up here. And it would be so hard. It would be so hard to come away from this and just go, oh, okay, it was a mistake. Okay, the police can do that, but not the people who were the subject of the stop. So it was a high-risk stop for which they shut down one direction of the highway. And that's even crazier. So you could have been on that highway that morning going someplace, and the police shut it off because there's a high-risk pullover happening over here. And these people are the subject of that, and it is simply going to a basketball tournament. And they have done absolutely nothing wrong except they drove in Texas with out-of-state plates. That's all they did. So, Ian, thanks for sending it from CNN. Rebecca Reese wrote that. We've made a mistake, says the Frisco Police chief, after they mistakenly pulled over a family, headed to a basketball tournament with guns drawn. Questions or comments? Put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Far away from your trouble and worry, you belong somewhere you feel free.